We've ended the tyranny of so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion policies all across the entire federal government and indeed the private sector and our military. And our country will be woke no longer.
Let's just call it as it is. Donald Trump is making waves again. In his first few months back in office, he's rolled back a bunch of diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI initiatives. He's removed DEI from federal agencies, pushed contractors to drop diversity programs, and even criticized Harvard, threatening international students who make up nearly a quarter of the campus community. All of this under the banner of ending wokeism. Critics see this as a step back from the progress made since 2020, the Black Lives Matter movement. Trump, on the other hand, argues that diversity has gone too far, calling it woke tyranny and targeting what he views as divisive policies. But here's the thing. Diversity isn't just a buzzword under fire. It's become a symbol of political football in American and global politics. Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines, where we break down current global events and topics for and from the teen perspective. I'm your host, Parth Gupta, and today we're asking, is diversity just trendy, or is it something we need to value beyond the hype? Let's dive in. So before we get into the meat of this, let's talk about what wokeism actually means. When people throw around this word, it becomes a catch-all term for anything related to inclusion, equity, and diversity. But each of these things are disparate, and clumping them up into one big umbrella term blurs the distinction between them. As I see it, the debate around wokeism should have little to do with diversity, and vice versa. Diversity itself is pretty straightforward. It's recognizing that people have different backgrounds, cultures, ways of thinking, and life experiences that help them shape how they see the world. However, the debate around wokeism has turned diversity into a political battlefield. Some and many conservatives argue that some diversity initiatives have gone too far, that they're creating divisions instead of unity, or being imposed in ways that feel forced rather than organic. They see woke policies as potentially undermining merit-based systems or traditional values. The thing is, when you step back from the political noise and look at the data, diversity is actually pretty practical. For example, according to McKinsey, companies with diverse leadership teams are on average 33% more likely to be profitable. And a study examining 7,600 firms found that culturally diverse teams produce patents cited 42% more frequently than those with homogeneous teams. And it makes sense when you think about it. When you've got people from different backgrounds in the room, they're going to catch things that others miss and come up with ideas that wouldn't occur to a less heterogeneous group. Take Silicon Valley. Over half of the startups there between 1995 and 2005 were founded by immigrants. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of jobs and billions of dollars in value. That's diversity literally building the future. However, let's be honest about something. Not everything labeled diversity is actually genuine. There's a phenomenon called diversity washing, where companies showcase diversity in their marketing and branding, but behind the scenes, leadership and decision-making remain unchanged. A 2022 study revealed that while 92% of Fortune 500 companies promote diversity publicly, only 44% actually have diverse representation in executive leadership. That's performance, but not progress. This disconnect between public messaging and actual practice might be part of why there's such a strong backlash against DEI initiatives. When people see companies talking about diversity but not implementing it meaningfully, it makes all diversity efforts, even genuine ones, look like empty gestures. It's also important to acknowledge that real diversity does come with challenges. Research shows that in more diverse communities, social trust can initially decrease as people navigate unfamiliar differences. Another challenge with diversity is how it's been hijacked and weaponized by interest groups, turning a meaningful concept into a political pawn. On top of that, the corporate world isn't helping. From superficial diversity hires to undeserved promotions, diversity washing has tainted the genuine push for inclusion, making it hard for real progress to shine through. But these aren't flaws in diversity itself. It's evidence that meaningful integration requires intentional effort and thoughtful policies. However, what we're seeing in the USA is quite the opposite. Unless real steps towards integration are made, the true power of diversity may not fully be harnessed. Here's the bottom line. Diversity has become fashionable, but it's also valuable. Yes, it's a buzzword and a political talking point, but the data shows it actually works. The political fights over wokeism are real, but they shouldn't obscure a simple fact. Bringing diverse perspectives together produces better results. That's not ideology, that's evidence. Thank you for tuning in to Beyond Headlines. I'm Parth Gupta, and I'll catch you next time. Stay curious, stay sharp, and always think beyond headlines.